You ever walk into a room and feel like the air is thicker than it should, but like everyone's holding their breath at the same time? That's exactly what it was like that morning in court. The benches were packed, reporters lined the back wall, with their pens tapping and cameras rolling quietly behind glass. And you could tell right away this wasn't just another case on the docket. No, this was one of those trials that would stick in people's minds for years, and the only person who might be able to tell the truth about what happened was 3 years old. Her name was Lily, and she hadn't spoken a single word since the night her mother was found on the kitchen floor bruised, bleeding, barely breathing. The man accused was her mother's boyfriend, and his defense? Solid as a brick wall. But that morning, everything shifted. The double doors at the back creaked open. In walked this tiny figure in a pale blue dress with white polka dots, a ribbon sliding out her messy hair. She clung to her foster mom's hand like it was the only thing keeping her from floating away. In her other hand, a plush bunny, worn down to the threads, one ear hanging by a stitch. And then there was the sound. Soft claws clicking against the linoleum. Shadow, a massive German shepherd wearing a police-issued therapy vest. He moved like he knew exactly where he was and why, head high, eyes calm but alert. And when Lily saw him, she just stopped, let go of her foster mom's hand, shuffled straight to him, dropped to her knees, and buried her face in his fur. The whole room went still like someone had pressed pause on life. The prosecutor, Rachel Torres, watched it happen. She'd been building this case for weeks, but she hadn't planned for this moment. No one had. And then, without looking up, Lily whispered something into Shadow's ear. No one could hear it but him. She pulled back, her little brow furrowed, eyes darting across the room and landing right on the defendant. She didn't point. She didn't cry. But her voice, small and steady, cut through that silence like a knife. "He's the bad one," gasped from the gallery. The defense jumped up, shouting objections, but it didn't matter. You could see it in the jurors' faces. Those 4 words had already planted themselves deep. From that moment, the whole trial bent around Lily and Shadow. Rachel didn't push her, didn't flood her with questions. She spoke to the dog instead, letting Lily decide what she wanted to share. Sometimes it came out in whispers. Sometimes it came out in drawing these little crayon worlds where stick figures hid under tables and big, angry shapes towered above them. And every time, the details matched the evidence. The broken table, the bruises, the glass. It was like Shadow was her translator, pulling memories out of her that no adult could reach. The defense tried everything, painting her as a confused child, saying she mixed dreams with reality. But Lily had this way of looking straight through their questions, like she knew when a grown-up was trying to twist her words. And the more they tried to shake her, the more the jury leaned toward her side. Then came the curveball. In the middle of a quiet afternoon session, Lily reached into her folder and pulled out a fresh drawing one she'd made the night before. The kitchen, broken table, her hiding spot, and a man, drawn sharper than anything she'd sketched before. Square jaw, dark eyes, angry brows. She looked at it for a long moment, then lifted her finger and pointed to the back of the courtroom. At Gregory Elmore. Not the defendant. The defense attorney. The room exploded, shouts, gasps, the judge pounding her gavel. But Lily didn't flinch. She said he wore a red tie, just like today. And when investigators dug deeper during an emergency recess, they found what no one expected: ATM footage of Elmore in a red tie near the victim's apartment minutes before the 911 call. Phone records pinged in the same area. A suspicious deposit from a shell company tied to the victim's ex. The whole defense unraveled in real time. By the next morning, the man who had stood so confidently at the defense table was in handcuffs. When a verdict finally came down, it wasn't just about the guilty party being caught. It was about how it happened. A toddler, a handful of crayon drawings, and a dog who never said a word but somehow said everything. The jurors weren't just convinced, they were moved. After the trial, the judge called Lily forward. She knelt down, looked her in the eye, and said, "In all my years on the bench, I've never seen anyone as brave as you." She handed Lily a small certificate naming her an honorary junior justice advocate. The room applauded. And then Officer Shadow padded forward, carrying a stuffed toy dog in his mouth, placing it gently in Lily's lap. She hugged it tight and whispered, "Thank you, Shadow." Weeks later, her mom was strong enough to walk again. The two of them stood outside the courthouse, hand in hand, the spring air brushing their hair. "You saved me," her mom whispered. Lily smiled and looked down at the shepherd sitting loyally by her side. And maybe that's the part that stuck with people, not just the shocking twist in court, but the quiet reminder that sometimes the truth doesn't come from the loudest voice in the room. Sometimes it comes from a whisper, from trust, from a child who found her courage in the steady heartbeat of a dog. So now I'll leave you with this. What do you think? Should a court of law make more space for voices like Lily's, even if they don't sound like the kind of testimony we're used to hearing? Or is that a dangerous path? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because justice, it's only as strong as the voices we choose to hear.